Hey everybody, it's Nikki, and I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened last weekend because basically, I met Hayden Christensen. So last weekend, Noah and I got to go to Fan Expo in San Francisco, which is a super fun convention. It was the second time that we've gone. 2 years ago, I got to meet Ming-Na Wen, who plays Fennec Shand in the Boba Fett show, in the Star Wars universe in general, and that was just super cool. She was really nice. Photo ops are a really quick process, so I basically didn't get to talk to her at all. Kind of a different story for Hayden, which is awesome. But I think with Fennec Shand, I basically just had the opportunity to tell her, oh my gosh, you are so beautiful, I'm such a big fan, thank you. Click, next. This year, however, literally like just a few days ago from at least when I'm filming this right now, I signed up for a photo op with Hayden Christensen and I decided I wanted to make this the most memorable photo that I could. And one thing in particular came to mind for how I could do this. One of my favorite prequels photo shoots between Hayden and Natalie is when they're dressed up in their arena outfits and there's this picture where Hayden's basically like leaning on Natalie's shoulder and it's super cute. She's kind of like awkwardly holding her own hand, which I never understood. I just think it was one of those quick like, okay, pose, click, photos. And I thought, you know what? I have an arena costume. I can take that photo. So I dressed up as Arena Padme to Fan Expo, which was awesome by the way, because Noah was dressed as Anakin. We walked in and within 2 minutes someone came up to us and asked if their daughter could take a picture with us, which was like the cutest thing ever. I just loved it. She was dressed up too, she looked really cool. Now, as excited as I was to go take my photo with Hayden, this was also one of the most stressful mornings of my life because I didn't even realize this. My photo with Hayden was first thing in the morning when the convention opened. Now, we were on track to arrive to the convention about 15 minutes after it opened, but then we had to walk from the parking lot. And as far as I'm concerned, they don't care, you know, your reasoning behind being late. So I totally started to freak out. We rush into the convention, we go ask like 3 people how to get there, we go to the wrong floor, we go back down, we find the front of the line. I was like, I'm group number 2, like where do I go? How do I take my picture? And they're like, go past like this line of 100 people to the very front because you should already be over there. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we sprint to the front of the line. This is not a good headspace to be in, by the way, when you're trying to take a photo with someone who you've grown up being the biggest fan of, are already having trouble comprehending that you're gonna be meeting him, talking to him, and then having to like, you know, be photo ready. Not to mention the pressure of like the fact that I was dressed as Natalie Portman. I really had to kill the pose and I had to make sure that my hair looked good. But anyway, we get to the front of the line and within about 5-10 minutes, the line's moving and I'm getting ready for my photo opportunity with Hayden. And that went by like super fast just because I remember I was trying to, you know, touch up my hair, straighten my costume after the like 1 mile run from the parking lot to the photo. And so by the time I had mentally prepared myself, we were quite literally next, even though I was the only one taking the photo. Luckily, Noah was allowed to be in line with me, which was great because he was carrying tons of my stuff to, you know, help Padme come together. And so we walk into the room. Hayden's right there. He makes eye contact with me as I'm like walking forward. This dude has got the craziest eyes I have ever seen. Like, I just have to say this because you don't notice it when you're watching these movies. Wow, his eyes like pierce you. They're so blue in person. It was crazy. I think even Noah was like taken aback a little bit. He did come up with me because, you know, he was dressed as Anakin. He had to come say hi. It's like one of his heroes too. And he was like, wow, you guys look great. And he was just so nice. I told him like, Hayden, I'm such a big fan. Like, it's so nice to meet you. I shook his hand. I wish I had asked him for a hug. I told him I grew up watching those movies and I was just so grateful that he was Anakin Skywalker because he basically made my childhood. And I was definitely a little bit at a loss for words, which I think he could tell. But I also think that he got the gist just based on, you know, the fact that I was trying to talk and I was stuttering a lot, that I was a big fan, and he seemed really, you know, appreciative and he was so kind. It was just really cool to talk to him. Noah had a replica saber with him. I think he brought with him an episode 3 saber and Hayden noticed it. He didn't even have to like, you know, show it off a little bit. He's like, hey man, like that's a really cool saber, and that was so nice. And then the line lady was like, okay, we need to move it along, which I understand. And so then I very quickly was like, can we do this? I wanna take this picture. And he was like, yeah, of course. And immediately, dude is ready. He goes like this, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. And so I scooted on over, tried to put my hand on my hip. It was a little awkward. It's a very awkward pose, Natalie. And then it was like 3, 2, 1, click, done. This is how it came out. And I could not be more happy with that picture, you guys. Like, okay, low-key, I do wish I had like put my hand on my hip a little bit more, but that's my own, like, I don't care. It was so cool. I recreated one of my favorite photo shoots ever from the Star Wars trilogy with Anakin Skywalker himself. He was just so nice. He was really like genuinely expressing his gratitude that we were there, and like even went out of his way to like compliment what we were wearing, which was really cool. I mean, we did look cool. And I was just feeling like so grateful that my photo op with him was early in the morning, cause like, don't get me wrong, as stressful as the journey was to get there, I was thinking, holy cow, people have signings and photos with Hayden from start to finish. Like, Hayden's gonna be here until like 9 p.m. We are so lucky. I am so lucky that I'm taking a photo with him when he's like bright-eyed, wide awake, probably still feeling that pep in his step. As it turns out, because Noah signed up for an autograph with Hayden, that was at the very end of the day. And when we were waiting in that line, which took 4 hours, by the way, that's not an exaggeration, they were super behind. I think they really overbooked Hayden's schedule because he doesn't do a lot of these appearances. Like our time was like 4:15 when we were supposed to get an autograph with him later, and we didn't end up actually getting it until about 8, and we had to stay there that whole time. That was a little bit brutal. But I was also just really feeling for Hayden at that point because I was like, this dude had to be here for like 12 hours straight. And I told Noah as we were approaching, again, this was at like 8:30 p.m. I was like, this poor guy must be so tired. Like, he's gonna look so done by the time we get there. And when we walked into the room, he was as smiley and glowy and chatty and kind. I heard him say really nice things to a ton of people. He was just as on top of his game as he was early in the morning, and holy cow, I was dying. And I didn't even have to smile for like 1,000 pictures that day. So props to you, Hayden, because you really went out of your way, despite how exhausted I'm sure you were, to just like fully engage, and you probably were having like a really good time talking to all of these super fans. So that's just awesome. But I couldn't believe that. Dude looked wide awake after 12 hours of on again, off again, full booked schedule, photos and autographs, just crazy. We did get to meet like a few other comic book artists who Noah did really want to get autographs from. So he got a few other signatures from like the artist for some Venom comics. There were a few other Marvel ones. Oh, and then we met Grant Gustin, The Flash, which is one of Noah's also favorite like TV shows and one of his heroes. So it was really cool to talk to him. He was super nice. And his line when we got there wasn't that busy, so we got to talk to him for like a couple of minutes, which was cool. Oh my God, what's that guy's name? The One Way Out guy. What is his name? Andy Serkis. We saw Andy Serkis there. He was just a few tables over from Grant Gustin also doing some autographs, and that was crazy. And then we saw Cal Kestis. I think his name is Cam, the actor. But we also saw him doing some autographs. I would have tried to sneak my way just into that line to say hi, because it's kind of doable. Like, they might be like, no, sorry, like you didn't pay for an autograph, can't do it. But you can get close enough to say hi. But his line was insane. Like, there was no getting anywhere near that. But yeah, saw Cal Kestis too. It did not beat taking the Padme and Anakin photo with Hayden and like getting to look the guy in the eyes and tell him I was such a big fan and everything. That was just so incredibly cool and special. I will remember it forever. I have the coolest photo to remember it forever. Would I do it again? Maybe, because it was such a cool experience. I could see myself dressing up in cosplay and doing another photo op with him, because even if I only got a few words in, he was so cool and it was just that special. So yeah, that's my story time. I just wanted to tell you guys about the time that I met Hayden Christensen. Let me know if any of you guys ever go to conventions. Also, have any of you ever met like any Star Wars actors at any of those conventions? Because I do follow quite a few of you on my Instagram, and these conventions, they go along, you know, year round, and I do see you guys taking pictures with them. So like, what are your experiences with some of these people? Honestly, from what I hear, these Star Wars actors, they're great people. Everyone has had super cool interactions with them. I'd love to know if you did an autograph or if you did a photo, because the reason Noah did an autograph is because you get more time to talk to them. However, at that point we were really so brain dead and both of us kind of had headaches. Plus it was kind of Noah's turn to talk, that he basically just had his chance to say, hey man, I'm a big fan. Super cool to meet you. And Hayden was like, oh, you know, that's so nice. Like, thank you. I really appreciate it. He was just really gracious. But anyway, you guys, drop a comment down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video or if you just appreciated the effort that I went to. to dress up as Padme for this photo. It was just so cool. On that note, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.